Hi everyone, it's Dr. Damien. In our last class, we talked about how you can use Google's responsive display ads to create ad campaigns for your brand. Now this is going to be really useful for your assignment, so I wanted to take you through a step-by-step approach of how to create a Google responsive display ad. Once you're in Google Ads, the first thing you need to do is click on the Campaigns tab. From here, you can create a new campaign. The first page that comes up will ask you what your objectives are for the campaign. So for a paid search campaign, your objectives are probably going to be sales, or maybe leads, even website traffic. Whereas for a display campaign, your objectives are probably going to be website traffic, or more than likely, creating brand awareness and reach. So for Review AE, that seems like a pretty logical goal, seeing as we're a brand new company. For the assignment, we also need to create a display campaign. This will allow you to create banner ads that are going to be shown all across the web in places that might reach our target audience. In contrast, we could create a video campaign. However, we haven't got a video, so we're not going to be able to show that on YouTube and on other websites. The next question will allow you to enter in the website URL. So I'm going to put in our company URL, Review AE here. Actually, it's reviewAE.com, sorry. And then the next page will ask you to label your campaign. So you can label this anything you like, but I'll call it Review AE display. Up next, you need to identify the location where you want your ad shown. So in which particular countries or cities do you want your ad shown? Now, in the example that I gave in class, we looked at how particular cities or states in the US might be more relevant to the surf brand that we looked at. But for Review AE, you might want to consider where in particular you want to show our ads. Next question is about language. Now, for the purpose of the assignment, I think everything should be in English. But if our website, reviewAE.com, was in Arabic, considering we are in the United Arab Emirates, you might want to include that as well. The next question here is about your bidding strategy. Now, because we created a campaign about brand awareness, Google is suggesting that our bidding strategy viewing strategy be based on viewable impressions. That is, that they're going to charge us a cost per 1,000 people who see the banner ad for at least 1 second or more. Now, the budget, you have a budget that has been assigned to you in the assignment guidelines. But here what we need to do is put down a daily budget, not a monthly budget or a weekly budget, but a daily budget. So just for this example, you need to work out yourselves what you want to actually, at least I'll say we're going to spend 30 dirhams a day. The next question is about ad rotation. Again, we're just going to optimize ad rotation so that Google shows our best performing ads more often, and that way we're more likely to get results and click through to our website. For the assignment, you need to schedule for a week in October or November. That you can also schedule based on the time of day and different days of the week as well. And you need to also enter in an end date. Okay, normally Google Ads will just continue running if you don't enter in an end date. So make sure it's good practice to put in an end date. For this campaign, put a start date and an end date as well for that 1 week in October or November where you want your campaign to run. In terms of frequency capping, we'll let Google take care of that. We discussed that in the class. We'll leave the default content exclusions in. And next up, we need to think about the ad group, okay, that we're going to be actually targeting. So Review AE display ad group can be the title for this particular group. And then we need to think about the particular audience. So this is really an exercise in target marketing. So who is the target market for reviewAE.com? So when we talked about Live Love Sup, the surf brand that my friend owns, and how they might target based on some psychographics, some interests, some affinities of the audience, like water sports, for example. Or if you are a a cleaning company like the maid service example that we've been working through, you might also search for some particular other ideas like household cleaning supplies. And as we do this, you can see that my available impressions is decreasing as I select more and more people. Actually, I'm not sure if you can see that because I think the picture of me is on top of the right-hand side of the screen, but you can look at it when you do it yourselves. The more narrow you refine your particular target audience, obviously that excludes a lot of people, so there's a smaller audience that you can actually reach. So I won't do this for you, but you can do this. It's even got suggestions based on our particular website. You can search for things that you think our target audience is interested in. Go back to our brand pillars, have a think about what we're about and who we write for, essentially what Review AE is and who our target audience is in particular, and that will help you reach them. So the audience segment really allows us to do it by psychographics, which you should know about from consumer behavior if you've taken that course, whereas demographics is looking at age and gender and income, those kind of defining characteristics. So again, if you think our target audience can be defined very narrowly based on particular demographics, then include that here. The next consideration is how we're going to narrow down where our ads are shown over the web through choosing keywords or by choosing topics or specifically allocating which websites we want our ad placed on. So we do this through this content targeting button here. So if we choose keywords, essentially what we're opting for is to have our display ads shown on websites that are relevant to those keywords. Essentially, they have those keywords on the page, or the page is essentially about that topic. Similarly, with topics, this is the broader category. So if you're a fashion brand, you might want to show your display ad on fashion websites. The alternative here is to have a placement, and that is where you specifically indicate which websites you'd like your ad placed on. Okay, this might be a little bit more expensive, but if we know that our target market are all avid readers of the Golf News, then we could indicate that we want our ad shown on the Golf News website. So for your assignment, you need to indicate some keywords that are relevant to the placement of your display ad. As you refine those keywords, you are going to narrow down the amount of impressions that we get. So if we type in coffee shops, people who are interested in a coffee shop, you can see that the number of impressions that were available has decreased from billions now just into the millions, because that is essentially the refinement of our target audience. So I'll let you guys play around with the keywords. I think that's really important for your assignment. Next up, we need to think about our ad group bid, which is the maximum amount we're willing to pay Google for 1,000 impressions. So for every 1,000 people who view our display ad, how much money are we willing to give Google? You won't necessarily be charged the full amount. Just like paid search campaigns, Google is going to charge you one fill more than the second highest bidder. So if you bid 5 dirhams and the second highest bidder bids 1 dirham and 50 fills, you'll be charged 1 dirham and 51 fills for that particular placement of 1,000 ads. So how much money to bid here? One way to look at this would be to go to Google's keyword planner. That will give you some indication. Another alternative would be to go and run a very basic campaign. And from that basic campaign, you should get an idea from how much Google is actually charging you. Or, just to get an estimate, we can put in some numbers here and we'll see an estimated performance on the right-hand side. So let's say that I'm willing to pay 2 dirhams for every 1,000 people that they show my ad to. Okay, so 2 dirhams, and immediately you can see that they've got an estimate for me. So based on my targeting, So then my targeting sections here under demographics and audience, and my geolocation. Based on my settings and based on my daily budget of 30 dirhams and my bid price of 2 dirhams, Google is estimating that between 80 and 340,000 views of my ad will happen over a week. And the average cost per 1,000 views will be between 50 fils and 1 dirham 20. So let's say for a little less than a dirham per 1,000 views, over the course of the week with my 30 dirham budget, at 2 dirhams per, maximum budget, I might get 100,000 views or so. Again, I can play around with that. So if I change that now to 1 dirham, you can see it didn't change the overall impressions very much at all. And, the average cost might be just a little less. So I could probably get away with bidding for less at this particular point in time. So I'll let you have a play around with this. You'll quickly narrow down your focus. It won't be perfect the first time around, but as you do run campaigns, you get a better idea of how much Google is actually charging you, and then you can use that to put in your maximum bid amounts. The next part that we want to discuss is actually how to create a responsive display campaign. This is the most important part. This is the exciting part. We get to actually create the ads. And the way to do that is click on Create Ad and click on Responsive Display Ad. And straight away you get this box that comes up, which will first show your website URL, werereviewAE.com, and it will ask us to upload some images and logos. These are your assets. This is what is going to be used and shown all around the web. Make sure it's your own copyright. And make sure it's attention grabbing. Okay, so follow the basic principles that we discussed in marketing communications. So if I click on images and logos, what Google's now is doing is scanning my website to look for some relevant logos, some relevant images that I might want to include. So you could borrow some of these, you could grab some of these. I'm pretty sure they're all the original images, at least if you're doing your assignment correctly, they should be. Should have our website logos there as well. Another way to do this would be go to Instagram and scan our Instagram site, and then you'll see a lot more potential pieces of content that you could use. Alternatively, you could upload content that you've specifically created for the responsive display ad. You could even upload content that you've created for the social media content part of the assignment. So you have some sort of integrated fashion to your campaign. That would make a lot of sense. Maybe with the integrated, maybe with the social media content, you had some copy and a headline inside the image, as part of the JPEG. But maybe for the display campaign, you just want to have the image, and then you're going to write the copy as a headline that Google can move around and put in there as well. We have also the option of including some stock images. So Google will give you that option as well. So what I'll do is I'll just show you quickly how we could add some of these. So for example, the logo. This is a logo. So, let's just say that there is my logo. And I guess I could also say that is my logo here as well. It's sort of part of my logo. So now I have 2 logos that I'm going to use throughout my campaign. What else could I use? I could use some of your images. So for example, I could use this image here. Let's just say we'll make it a square image. Okay, so nice square image here. That was quite nice. Now the problem with this is now I'd have to make sure that my headline is relevant to that particular image. Now the idea is to brand reviewAE.com. And this particular image is about coffee shops, so maybe it doesn't make as much sense. What else do we have? We have some stock images here. ReviewAE is all about reviewing the UAE. So this might be a nice stock image that we might want to include. It looks nice. Let's just include that. Let's not include the square image. It doesn't look as nice. There we go. What else have we got? This looks like Abu Dhabi's Corniche. It's a nice little image. Why not? We'll keep that. And you know, why not? That looks like a nice, pretty image that we've got there. You guys play around, find some really beautiful images that you want to include. You would also want to think about, you know, something really attention grabbing. You know, think about what you're using for your social media. But here we have our asset properties. So if I click on it now, here's my assets. I've got two logos, Review AE and Review AE, the traditional logo. I could also just have the UAE country shape, you know, make that narrower. That could have been a logo as well. And so sometimes Google would use different logos at different times. And now I have my my different images that I could use. You know, I've got some from the website, got from the stock photos. Again, you're going to use some original images. You could borrow some from the website. You could create a collage of different things from the website. All good options. Okay, next up, we want to create some headlines. Now, you know, think really carefully about what your headlines are going to be. They need to be attention grabbing. What is the purpose? Now, the purpose is to create brand awareness of Review AE. So we really want to include those words, Review AE, in there. You know, think about it yourselves. Don't write too many. You know, but you know, you get to play around with it. Think about it. Local reviews of the UAE. You get the idea, okay? You need to add up to 5 headlines. You also want a long headline as well. So for different formats, Google allow you to have long headlines. So now we can maybe ask a rhetorical question. You know, looking for reviews of the UAE. We have the best reviews of everything. Okay, you know, I don't know. You're going to have to include a bunch of descriptions as well. You know, student reviews of everything in UAE. Again, more descriptions. We're going to have our business name here as well. And all of a sudden, you can see that Google is updating this image here. So now you're seeing in mobile format what my ads are going to look like. So here they've used the picture of the Corniche, local reviews in the UAE. Here they've got the nighttime skyline, local reviews of the UAE, student reviews of everything UAE. You know, if we flick through them, depending on how many images you insert, you're going to see different options. Okay, you know, here's just a standard text-based option. Here's one with our logo, you know, local reviews, the UAE, Review AE, student reviews. And what Google's going to do is mix and match. So, you know, you need to make sure that the images are relevant to all the headlines are relevant to all the images, etc. Okay, so what will it look like on the PC? There's the PC button over here. You know, and you can sort of see the idea. Okay, so it looks nice. Again, my image is pretty boring, to be honest. Skyline images, I would change that. I don't think that's particularly attention grabbing, but it is local, is relevant to what we do. So maybe I can do this in a better way, a more attention grabbing way, and maybe I can create some awesome ads. Okay, so the last part about this here is that we could add call to action text. I'll let you do that if you like. But the one thing I did ask for in the assignment was custom colors. So here we have the hex codes for your brand. So if we have a brand like, you know, Coca-Cola has Coca-Cola Red, you might want to you know, make sure that those colors are actually being used in the advertisements, the display ads that you create. So I just quickly looked up the custom codes. What do we have? I think 5E is custom code. That's the gray color. So, you know, do we want that as the main color? ED35C is the yellow sand color, the golden sands color. You know, so you can see Look at the various properties. Does that work? Let's have a look. Great examples. Maybe it's better on this one, but the buttons, are the custom gray. So I guess we could change this around. We could have the main color, that one there, and now we have yellow here. Okay, and then do we want gray as being the accent color, which was 5E, 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 5E. Yeah, that kind of looks nice. You guys decide what works well for you, what you think is going to be the best format. I guess the only other color there that we use a lot of is just boring or white. You might want to consider that. Maybe not. It's pretty boring. So that's your white color. Yeah, that's pretty boring. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's how you create a campaign. I think I've covered everything. So that's it for your assignment. That's all the parts of the assignment done. So good luck, guys. I'll see you around. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll talk about the deadline then. Bye.